And we're on. Say hello, Courtney.
Hello, Courtney. I was researching today's topics.
Research is good. Look, we got a whole new lighting scheme in here now.
I love it. It feels different too.
Well, I finally got the color thing worked out. You can see we got really good color now. You were darker than I was, so I got that fixed. Changed the lighting scheme. The background is darker now. Our faces are more lit up, so I think it'll be a lot more palatable for folks to watch.
Let your light shine.
I've got my on-air sign back here. I finally put batteries in it. Got my little remote control to turn on.
Yes, that makes us official.
Oh, well, we've always been official.
That's right.
Been officially cool. But so anyway, how you doing?
Doing pretty well.
Good. We are too. We had a wonderful Mother's Day. What about you?
Yeah, it was. It was good. I took my mom out to lunch, and my daughter and granddaughter popped in and surprised us. We have 4 generations Mother Day there.
Wow.
Nice.
That sounds very, very nice.
It was very nice.
Yeah, sounds like it. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, did you have any special dinner or anything?
We went to Native Brews.
Oh, in Cherokee?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's my
ours
favorite
isn't
spot.
open yet.
It's coming. They got their floor down, and they have to wait so long for it to cure before anyone can walk on it, and then they will start furbishing the restaurant.
I don't know if it's anything like putting a floor down in a studio like we did here, but it was a good 3 or 4 months after we got the floor in before this place was finished.
No, I think they needed 7 days for the floor to cure, and they already have everything lined up. It's ready. They've had their, what are they called? Open houses to gain employees.
Okay.
Job fairs.
Yeah.
They had some of those.
That's
but
cool.
I'm sure if you want to get your application in, they're still accepting those.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to it. I love their food.
Me too. I think they'll have a different menu here than what they have in Cherokee. Yeah.
I went to Mountain Layers for the first time in a long time.
Oh, yeah?
We went Saturday. We went to Mountain Layers. Haven't been there in so long. And whenever we used to visit Bryson City, I would go there 3 or 4 times. But it's just been a while. But had a fellow we saw over there. What's the name of that campground again? The cabin place that.
Yes.
Spring thing.
Lands Creek Log Cabins.
Creek, right.
Yeah.
Lands Creek Log Cabins.
The Frond
So
Rafts.
a fellow that we saw performing there was at Mountain Layers. His name is Shane something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he very, very good. We really enjoyed it. We got rice wagon meals.
I wonder if you were there when my
Fun.
son got spit on by the drunk Texan that was visiting from out of town.
At Mountain Layers?
At Mountain Layers. I hope that man catches a glimpse of this and realizes he should be glad Mama Bear wasn't around.
Oh, no, I didn't.
That would have been an assault charge on my part, I assure you. That's my baby. We don't do that.
It was raining when we were there, and everybody was under the sheltered part outside. We stayed inside and just had our meals. The door was open so that we could hear Shane playing and singing.
Nice.
That was fun. Says
Very
he
cool.
spends a lot of time in the Tampa Bay area, which is where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Said he splits his time, but I had not heard of him there. But he's got a band up here. He's got a full band up here. I have yet to see them, but I would like to. They sound very nice.
Nice.
He's great. He's great. Does his own kind of versions of other people's songs. His covers are not just straight up covers.
Nice.
He's got his own angle on them. It's very, very cool. Very cool.
Very cool.
Well, I noticed you posted a new video this morning about the graduation deal between Swain County High School and Swain Academy. Is that right?
That is correct.
You want to give us a quick update on that?
The school board has denied the right for this to be heard on their agenda, so that they placed it in the public comment section of their meeting. And by doing that, they do not allow for any discussion. You only get to say your piece, and they get to sit there and go to sleep.
Well, that's not right.
It's not right. And I hope that this sheds light on more than just these students being discriminated against. You know, we have across the nation a sweeping problem of our elected officials doing what they want to and making choices based on their special interests or their own personal opinion. But that's not what elections are for. You know, we elect these officials to be our voice and to cast our votes in the system that they've created. So, you know, if we openly see that our government officials that have been elected to their positions aren't going to listen to their constituents, there are protocols in place to remove them, but there are also elections down the road where you need to remember the names of the elected officials who don't hear your voice.
100% agree with you. 100% agree. So what do we do? What can we do? What action can we take?
I think that by the time this airs, the meeting will have taken place already. I've really openly just blasted Facebook, hoping that enough people will see it and come at least stand in unison. You know, you don't have to talk, just be there as your presence, because collectively our voices can be heard. And I'm a lifelong local in Swain County. The circles that are in power have been there for a long time, and they have their trust, and they have their church, and they have their agenda. And the rest of us haven't had a voice until now. And we're on the verge of being able to change things here for the better of all of our residents, because we have had enough transplants or outsiders, and I've heard them referred to as that in the government circles, and I don't appreciate that from them, because they're saying it to keep division. And I'm saying it from a place of, I understand we each have different viewpoints, but there has to be a compromise where we can all come together. And so by having enough outsiders that aren't tied into the family circle that holds the power over the school board, then hopefully enough people will show up to make a change. That was a lot of rambling.
That was great. That was very, very well said. Very well said. You had me entranced, so to speak.
Well, there's always been the division of locals and transplants or outsiders, and our interests are different. But a lot of that comes from a place of, a lot of people have never left here and went and lived somewhere else to experience what life is like in a different community setting. And so we're set in our ways, and we're firm on this is my land and you can't tell me what to do. But at the same time, some of us have went away, and there are benefits to things like zoning and holding your elected officials accountable. There's benefits to both sides. And it's just important we come together and find that we have an opportunity to change the way that these kids feel about themselves right now. You know, we take people and we help cause their mental health crisis and their drug addictions by excluding them and by segregating them. And the only way to build a better future is to not cause those wounds in the beginning. We don't have to fight so hard to heal them if we just don't cause them.
You know, it's been my contention that our only real superpower is our vote. And things will go wrong, and we'll curse about it and then fret about it and not feel good about it. And the only thing we can do is remember that when it's time to go vote. What do you think?
We do need to do that. We need officials that don't mind being transparent. The decision concerning the academy was made by the school board. Meetings are designed so that no one goes. They're held at times where no one can get there. They're held several meetings at the same time, so you have to pick and choose which government entity are you going to try to watch today. It's been that way by design.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It would have to be.
So that people can't show up and have their voice. And then we get put in this position, just like with the water bills. You know, they even did not post the minutes for those meetings and stuff, just so y'all know that. They did hide that a little bit. Not intentionally, maybe on accident. Who knows?
Well, isn't that just a matter of procedure? You got to post those things.
It's not hard.
Huh?
It's not hard. I'm learning how to use technology every day. It ain't hard.
Well, let me ask you this. When it does come time for elections, do they have town hall meetings and things like that so these people can get up and talk and express their platforms?
No.
Well,
no.
Can you and I change that?
You know what I would really like to see, and I don't know how to go about initiating it, but if we had community coalitions where each community came together, they have their community meeting, and they have a representative from their community. And, you know, maybe one representative goes to county meetings, one goes to the school board meetings, one goes to town meetings. Because even as a county resident, the things that the town board of aldermen are deciding do affect you. When they enact this UDO, they have the authority for, it's called extraterrestrial or extraterritorial. There's an official term for it. But they get a 3-mile perimeter around their city limits that they also get to enforce their UDO in. That affects county residents directly. The county residents are not inside city limits, but for a 3-mile radius around town limits, those county residents are going to be subjected to the zoning. That's written into the legislation, however that works, however those little rules get handed down. One of the rules is 3-mile perimeter around where you enact zoning is also covered by that zoning. They ain't telling that openly.
That could cause problems.
Yeah, because we are intentionally kept in the dark. And then also we're complicit as the citizens. We don't take the time to go to those meetings. Nobody wants to. I don't want to. I'm not doing it for me.
Then you get what you deserve. If you're not actively involved in who's running your county, then you get what you deserve.
Yes and no. I agree with that statement to a degree. But in this county, I can say here specifically because, again, I've grown up here. I've lived here. My family's been here. When it does no good to speak out or your children receive the repercussions of you speaking out, your kids aren't allowed to play on the sports. They have to ride the bench because you made a fuss over how the teacher treated them. Or, there's a million different little things like that have happened. And we've become numb to the idea here that our voices matter because they have never. It doesn't matter if you're not part of that group, then it doesn't have any kind of effect. You're the bad guy for speaking out against the group. Or your family members who have community jobs are targeted because you spoke out against the government that they work for.
Wait. Targeted how? How are they targeted?
Losing jobs, repercussions, having a hard time at work. Because you speak out against what's going on with our government officials.
That's so corrupt.
It's very corrupt. And a lot of people, locals, I have spoken with a lot of locals in the past week. Courtney, thank you for what you're saying because we can't say it because my kid will get repercussions.
Oh, I've seen it. I've seen it online. I've seen people responding. Yeah.
And that's, we all feel that way. My son's graduating. I am so proud of him. Those other kids deserve that same chance. How about the academy, the guidebook, the handbook, student handbook, their whole section under their graduation procedures? Nothing. There's literally not a single word written except graduation.
Huh.
That's it.
Wow. Very strange. Got to wonder who put that together.
They didn't do a good job. They didn't. They have a section in there where it explains that the parents are required to sign permission for the school to utilize whatever disciplinary measures that they feel necessary. They literally do not give the parents any option. None. You are forced to sign that.
Well, all I'm saying is when it comes time for elections, that we get a hold of these people who are running for these positions. And I assume that whoever is in place now will stay in place unless somebody opposes them.
Hopefully we have that. That's really an honest hope, is that there are people that are concerned enough that they will step forward and accept that responsibility for the better change.
Wow. What I think that this forum that we've created here between you and me, I think it's an excellent way to get the word out. And if we just, we got to get people to watch. We got to spread the word and get people to watch so they understand that what's happening in this county needs a little adjustments need to be happening.
A little tweak here and there.
Yeah. What do you think?
I agree with that. I mean, I could go further and say that our superintendent is also a preacher, man of God. And when he tells me this whole thing started because of one girl, I'm pretty sure it talks about Jesus leaving the 99 to go after the one. So are we even practicing the faith that we preach? Well, if you're not living it.
Being as involved in the church as I have for nearly my entire life, the pulpit can certainly be a political place that it has no bearing in Scripture whatsoever. And we've seen
but don't come at me with Scripture if you're not living the Scripture that you're preaching.
Yeah, well, that's a tough call for a lot of them.
And like I said, I've said it a million times. I'm a little sinner, okay? I've been every kind of little sinner you can imagine.
Well, you know what the Scripture says.
That I'm covered by the grace of God and forgiven.
All have sinned and fall short of the glory of God, which is the reason why we need a Savior in the first place. and God gave us a way out. So don't want to get too deeply into that this time like we did last time, but
Spiritual matters are really important right now.
they're always important.
They are, but we are also at a crux.
A crossroads, so to speak.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
got to decide, are you going to walk in the light, or are you going to go over here and spread darkness? Because it's time for us to make those decisions.
Yeah. There are a lot of issues out there right now, not the least of which is our falling population.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not just a United States thing. It's a huge thing in China.
Bye.
China, I mean,
That's not nice. I'm sorry.
China's population is collapsing. So is Japan's. So is the United States, other countries as well, where, and I know what's happening in the United States is just a whole lot of women, young women who choose not to get married and have babies.
There are also a whole lot of young women who have been given immunizations that have led to sterilization.
That has happened.
Immunizations given to young men that cause lower sperm counts. Those things are happening.
Well, the testosterone thing is a giant issue. They say in 40 years, it's dropped 40% for young men. That's crazy.
We take
Think about
soy and we force it on newborn infants, and soy is read in our bodies as an estrogen. So when you're overloading a newborn boy with estrogen, that's bound to cause some issues. We've feminized our population.
It's happening.
It's easier to overthrow a population where you don't have the male warriors willing to stand in defense, right?
Well, there's some good news on that front, that it seems like a whole lot of young men, not the women, but a whole lot of young men are proving to be a lot more traditional and conservative. And I don't know how that happened, but it happened. I guess, you know what I think it is? I think it's the new media. I think it's the podcasts. It's the Joe Rogans and so many others that are doing it. When I started this thing, I had no intention of being terribly political or terribly anything other than just have some fun with it and see if we can get some people to watch.
Yeah.
But it's inevitably going to come out. That's easy for you to say. It's inevitably going to come out. You listen to somebody long enough and you hear their heart,
Mm-hmm.
So, I believe I've heard yours on multiple occasions now, and I think it's solid reasoning, understanding, conviction. You've got it all, and I love that about you. I think that's great.
Thank you.
That's great. But there again, we need to get people to watch.
I feel very humbled by that. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you. Because I do have a heart for humanity. I'm not selfish. It does not affect me who does and does not get to walk at graduation, but it affects those kids for the rest of their lives.
yeah. Sure
And
does.
even students that have graduated alternative programs and not gotten to walk with their class have reached out to tell me, thank you for what you're doing. These students, people tell us it won't matter in 5-10 years. It matters. It still matters to me. So that's just heartbreaking that we can't see past our own shortcomings to be just inclusive. Those kids have met their benchmarks. At the point that they have reached the right to graduate, that program's been successful, right? And so they should be integrated back to regular school.
And
that's the point of the program, to graduate the kids.
Such an easy thing to do. Such a common sense, easy thing to just make it happen. What is the opposition?
They would not be receiving all this backlash right now if they'd have simply let the one girl walk with the rest of the graduating class. What they had offered was, we will come to your school, to your home. We will come to your home and bring your diploma to you, and we can go out to eat afterwards. Now, of course, you had 7 students say, no, you're not coming to my house.
What's the opposition? Why the push? Why the front? Why are they saying, no, you can't do that?
I think at this point, it's just because they said so. They're going to hold firm on their ground. We made this decision. We refuse to back down and say we were wrong.
Courtney, I just don't understand where that comes from. Where does that come from initially that makes people think in those ways?
because there are members sitting on that board that have been excused from any consequences of their actions their entire life because of who their daddy is in this county.
Well, then at the same time,
Their daddy, we could talk about their daddies, but that's a whole nother ideology that we really need to look into that too. Hopefully the sexual abuse of students in the high school has come to an end.
I don't know anything about that.
No, I do though. We all do, don't we, Slate County? Mm-hmm.
Oh boy. My point is, and I do have one.
Derailed him. He was not expecting that. See, there's a lot of animosity built up in there, and I'm trying real hard to keep it on the professional level.
Yeah.
Current, but there is no limit of statute of limitations for that, I think, right?
I don't believe there is.
Yeah.
Not for felony charges.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. My point is that we got here somehow. Somehow, some way, people just started making selfish decisions for no actual reason other than to impose some sort of intimidation on others. That's what it sounds like.
Keep them in their place.
So there's no concern until somebody raises a concern. And the point of it, I guess, is if someone raises a concern, we're just going to fight that and say no.
Nobody cared until we made the decision, so we don't have to listen to you now that we already made the decision for you without your opinion.
That is anti everything I feel.
Some of those boys read or remember the skeletons in their closets. It's just disheartening. It really is.
Wow.
Very much.
Wow. Well, we beat that one to death now today.
Uh-huh.
So what else is happening?
Let's talk about getting our guts shook up. Anybody expected y'all have an earthquake on your bingo card for 2025? I mean,
that totally took me by surprise. I was sitting up here in the studio. You see, that was Saturday morning or Sunday morning? It was Saturday morning. Yeah, Saturday morning. I was sitting up here in the studio, and I thought I heard or felt something. And I was like, I looked around a little bit, and then the big whoomp came, and I thought a car had run into my house. It was not fun.
I didn't know what was going on. I know that my insides had just, right before the boom and the reverberating through the earth, my insides had just went haywire, like I was faced by a lion in the bushes, you know, like the anxiety rocketed, instantly followed by the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what it was until I noticed, all the bird feeders are shaking.
Wow.
Like, what the heck? I was hoping the train had derailed down below the house, honestly.
Well, no, I would not like that at all. But for those of you who might not know what we're talking about because you don't live around here, is that we had an earthquake Saturday morning at about 9:03, 9:04, something like that. And it shook all of our houses, and it was felt, as I heard, it was felt in Blue Ridge, Georgia.
As far as Atlanta.
Wow.
South, as far as into Atlanta, different parts of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was centered, they said it was centered about 20 miles southeast of Greenback, Tennessee, which is, that means closer to us.
Yeah, it's pretty close to us.
We are southeast of Greenback, Tennessee. Now, I have a friend in Florida who is he's a physicist. He was a physics teacher, high school physics teacher for many years. And someone I used to rock and roll with back in the 70s. But he was talking about, we're going to have a lot more earthquakes coming up. And that was less than a week ago. And as soon as we had that earthquake here, I thought of him and what he had said on Facebook about it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, there you go.
Scientists are saying solar activity is at a place we have we've never seen it like this
solar
before.
Activity, yeah. People, I remember a few months ago, people were seeing the Northern Lights, the Aurora Borealis, in places where people have never seen it before. That's direct result of solar activity.
According to scientists right now, that is for the next several years, we're really going to have the possibility of seeing them on the regular here. And that will cause issues with plate shifts. And I agree with that. That could be a thing. If they're telling us the truth, who knows?
Who knows?
The shadow knows.
Did you see recently that a tree was discovered? I think it was in Australia. A petrified, dead, old tree was discovered that was so old that it showed a record in its rings, the tree rings. It showed a record of the Earth's pole reversal that happened 42,000 years ago. That north became south and then shifted back again.
Yeah, we're overdue for one of those.
Well, we're not sure because yes, it was 42,000 years ago, but they really don't know how long it was since the one before that.
Our
they
rocks
really
show
don't
that.
know.
Geological surveys show
Rocks.
that to a degree because
Yeah.
the iron in the rocks lines up, and that's how they tell those patterns, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I thought that they happened roughly about every 26,000 years. And we're-
26,000.
And we're overdue
Wow.
for one.
Well, the North Pole has been moving, I think,
More and more
to
rapidly.
the tune of about 40 miles a year, which is interesting. A
Yeah.
lot of the ancient civilizations that they've dug up and found where they had built them in such a way as to, for the stars, and the sun and the moon and the stars, to like right at the equinox, that it would show up right through the window right there. Well, they don't show up there anymore.
No, because things have shifted.
Yeah.
But if we follow our star maps back, now that we have the computer generated things, they line up with like the younger Dryas. There's a lot of things that line up there. And, allegedly we're just coming out of caves back then. No, we weren't.
Oh, I don't believe that at
No,
all.
we weren't. Yeah.
I've watched so many History Channel programs and things that I'm convinced that archaeologists are a cult. That they get locked into a certain belief and they think that that's just the way it is. And anybody who finds evidence of that's not the way it was, they're just a heretic and off with your head.
But that's the system. The system has designed us to stay in ignorance so that we don't claim our spiritual power, so that we remain slaves to their system instead of breaking away and remembering who and what we truly are.
Amen to that. I want to talk about a couple of things that have happened overnight. We're recording this on Monday afternoon, and last night a couple of things happened, and that was that Trump announced a new trade deal with China where they're calling off all the hostilities. Now, this is on the heels of him brokering a deal between India and Pakistan to stop their war, a complete ceasefire, an end of hostilities completely. I don't know what he said to him to do that. Also, another major win he had last week is getting the Houthis to cease fire. They're not firing on American ships anymore, and they said they don't want to do it anymore. I'm not sure what he threatened them with.
No
but-
telling. You got all kinds of arsenal, right? You just pull out of that at your disposal.
So he had that going for him, which is nice. So on the heels of that, he got this trade deal with China that they've at least agreed to something for 90 days. And we'll
That's what
see.
I was reading about when we
Yeah.
started, was what all that entailed.
But it's a great thing. I mean, it really puts worldwide tensions at ease, the fact that America and China have worked this out.
Yeah, I think
So that's a
stocks
very
are
good
going
thing.
up again today.
Oh,
and
they're way up. They are way up. Let me tell you how far up they are. Oh my gosh. They've gone up even more since the last time I looked. The Dow Jones is up 1,025 points. That is 2.5% in one day.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Google's way up. Google's up 166 points. Microsoft is up. Gosh.
Y'all quit buying into Microsoft. That man needs to be done with. Bill Gates is the devil. He's the devil.
Yeah. Oh, man, that interview he did where he was being asked about Epstein. And he just goes, oh, well, he's dead, so, But and now they're accusing Pam Bondi of holding on to this information and not releasing it. And she's like, time out on that, okay? What's happening? What's
Okay.
actually happening is there's tens of thousands of videos and we have to get through it all before we can release it. Because what happens if you just put something out there and
If you have got government officials, superstars, Hollywood stars, I don't care who they are. If you have them on video doing nasty things to underage children, they have no reason to still be in their position. There is no justifying that later down the road. There's no coming back and saying, oh, I know we showed you that video of him doing this, but we were mistaken.
But there are dark forces at work here.
Very
that are,
much so.
Working. I mean, we know the Clintons have a trail of dead bodies behind them, and And there's other examples of that as well.
Because everyone in Hollywood and in our government, I can't say everyone because that's quantitative, but 2/3 of them are complicit in this.
Oh, absolutely.
Our own social service
Absolutely.
system takes children and gives them to sexual predators.
But this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the fact that there are tens of thousands of these videos, and the fact that there were more than 200 victims and in the trafficking aspect of this.
Right.
And that all has to be nailed down before we can come out and say, here you go, America, here's what happened.
Yes and no.
They've all got to be protected. So
The criminals should not be being protected.
well,
They should not.
again,
And if you want to smear your reputation because you're out banging little girls, then you deserve to have your reputation smeared.
did you see also last week that James O'Keefe came out with? He's the O'Keefe Media Group, used to be Project Veritas.
Okay.
By the way, it looks like he's taking Project Veritas back. He's taking it back.
Yeah.
They dumped him a couple of years ago, and even though he was the founder and CEO and everything, they somehow managed to dump him out of that. But now it looks like he's taking it back. But he got the secret camera footage of the lifelong Royals friend guy, handler guy, just who had got drunk, and another honey trap. They set up these honey traps all the time on secret cameras.
Yeah.
And he admitted right out loud that Prince Andrew was deeply involved with Epstein and, quote, effing young girls. Yeah.
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 Yeah, that little girl that Diddy had adopted for a little while. I don't know if you've watched any of her interviews.
It's heartbreaking.
Holy
It's absolutely
wow.
heartbreaking. Well, he's going to get his. He's going to get it.
Yeah, but he's the fall guy for all these political and other
It's true.
stars.
He's a fall guy. Yeah. Yeah. He is, but he's going to get it. I mean, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
That whole culture over there in Hollywood had set all this up, and it's been going on for decades.
It has.
But so we should be very encouraged that things are changing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like we're on the precipice of a new age. Oh, we are.
We've
just entered the age of Aquarius.
You've got a whole coalition now of people like Mel Gibson, Marky Mark.
Oh, Wahlberg. Yeah.
Wahlberg.
Yeah. Marky Mark.
Even Sly Stallone, he's in on this. And Jim Caviezel, so many that are ready and wanting change. And Hollywood's dying a horrible death anyway. I mean, nobody's going to the theaters.
No.
And everybody's poo-pooing all the new movies that come out. Yeah, I have a theory about that. One theory is that the way that, especially these big action special effects movies, is that the way that the curve of that went is that special effects were really bad. They started getting better and better and better and better. And now we're at the point where they're 100% realistic for the most part. They're 100% realistic. So there's nothing new to see anymore. So it's got to be a good story. And if it's not a good story, nobody's going to go see it.
Plus, who wants to go spend $30 at the movie theater
Is
to
that
sit
how much
in?
it costs?
I mean, by the time you get your ticket for your date and yourself and your popcorn and your drinks, and then you sit in
I've been to 2 movies in the last
gross
2 years.
chairs.
2 movies in the last 2 years. And we used to go all the time. We just don't go anymore. And it wasn't COVID. I mean, COVID obviously emptied out the movie theaters. A lot of people got used to watching stuff online and not wanting to make the effort anymore.
Yeah.
The big screen experience is not as special as it used to be. I now have an 80-inch television in my living room that I paid $549 for. And I remember
You could have went to the movies 10 times for that.
I remember when I got our first big screen 20 years ago, and it cost us like $3,000, $4,000.
Yeah.
We're paying 10% of that now for an 80-inch TV, which is crazy.
That one person can carry.
Well, it's pretty heavy, but yeah.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like,
Yeah, I
wow.
do. Well, we have the flat screens. It's amazing. The home theater is so inexpensive now, absolutely inexpensive, and that's just a great way to watch stuff, without worrying about who's sitting around you, well, worrying about catching a cold.
What the people in the row behind you are doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, so. Yeah, there is that. So Hollywood's taken a major downhill slide.
Speaking of Hollywood, didn't you have a video to show me of some great acting? We're gonna get a real response on this one. I've not seen it yet.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Oh, let's cover a couple other things first. We talked about Trump. He got the deal with China. Last week he had a deal with the Houthis, had a deal with Pakistan and India. This was all in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And then this morning he signs an executive order going after Big Pharma, which is if you want to die, you want to put a major target on your back, go after Big Pharma.
Let's hope he gets those commercials off the TVs.
He's gone and told them you can no longer charge us more for your drugs than you're charging other countries, because Americans have been suckers for way too long, paying way more than they charge in other countries. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned the most favorable nation status,
yes,
and all that. So he said that's going to change. It's going to change right now. Right now, it's going to change. Executive order means now. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's no.
I would love to
see
that
90
happen.
days. There's no 30 days. It happens right now. That's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I already had one episode, even within the last 2 years, I had one episode of going to the doctor and saying, you need this. I go there to pick it up, and it's $2,700 for a 9-day supply.
Yeah. It's disgusting.
And thank you to my doctor, Dr. Gans, if you know him, locally here in Bryson City. He said, oh, well, we can get some more samples for you. And here's, it just got, within 1 day, they had me a 9-day supply of this medicine that completely cured me of IBS.
So let's just take note of that, folks. A $2,100 prescription. $2,700 was covered because there are free samples available. So do you realize that it did not cost them $2,700 to make that 9-day supply of pills? Cents on the dollar is what it cost them to make those pills.
Oh, yeah. It's a complete racket.
Yeah.
It's a complete racket. And let's not even go into vaccines at this point.
Let's not.
That's
or how our food is designed to make us sick or any of those things. Yeah.
Yep. It's all wild. It's all completely wild.
It is.
So not only that, we took care of all that. And so I go on Twitter this morning, X as it's called now. I go on X this morning, and all these Democrats are screaming about the fact that Qatar, the nation of Qatar, some think it's Qatar, but it's actually Qatar, pronounced Qatar, Qatar, that they just gifted the United States, not Donald Trump, they gifted the United States with a brand new 747 to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One. And they're all screaming about it like special favors for Donald Trump, even though like the last one lasted 40 years and Donald Trump's only going to be president for another 4 years. Doesn't matter. They say, it's wrong. It's corruption. He's so corrupt. I'm like, come on.
As many of these multi-million-dollar jets as our own military has been crashing right now, they really better be thankful for a free plane from anywhere they get it.
Well, how about that? Sean Duffy is now saying we got to completely overhaul the air traffic control system. It's way too.
There is not an air traffic control system on a boat out in the middle of the ocean where we just having 3 accidents this year with fighter jets, $70 million a piece.
Yeah.
Mind blowing.
Anyway, so this is what Trump said about the fact that the defense. I was going to read it like Donald Trump.
Oh, this is his real page?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, this is actually, he posted this on Truth Social, and this has been copied. It's been screenshotted from Truth Social.
Is that why he has a red check mark instead of blue?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the fact that the Defense Department is getting a gift free of charge of a 747 aircraft to replace the 40-year-old Air Force One temporarily, I don't know why I used the word temporarily in a very public and transparent transaction that so bothers the crooked Democrats that they insist we pay top dollar for the airplane. Anybody can do that. The Dems are world-class losers. MAGA! He's always sticking it in their eye, and I love it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to play the devil's advocate. Unless we could pick this apart for grammar, we could wonder why it's temporary. Why are we calling people's names?
Well,
just take the free gift. Just take the free gift.
It is a free gift, and it's going to be good for any president, no matter what party they belong to.
But the temporarily bothers me. Why does it say temporarily?
I don't know why he said that. I'm not sure what the context of that is.
Yeah,
maybe
I don't know.
I don't know.
Who knows? It's a free plane. Who cares?
A free
We've
plane.
crashed 3 at least this year. We need a free one.
Well, the United States has always had an excellent relationship with Qatar. Always.
Yeah, I've
And
never
they
said anything
are
bad
a
about them.
Incredibly rich nation. They have so much money.
Oh, cha-ching.
Yeah.
Ting, ting, ting.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
want them as allies.
Yeah.
You surround yourself with people you want to be like,
You
right?
know, people a lot of times don't get what trillion means. Trillion is 1,000 times a billion, right? A billion is 1,000 times a million. You got to think about the meaning of that. Somebody had put it out there yesterday about how rich Elon Musk is as the richest man in the world. And they said that he could buy every National League football team, every one of them, every hockey team, every baseball team. He could buy all of them. And then he listed a whole bunch of other stuff. And then at the end said, and he'd still have money left. And it was like, dang, you think about that. You think
that is
about that.
mind-boggling.
Wow. Anyway, so Qatar, very, very rich nation, oil nation, extremely rich. And for them to do that, it's like nothing to them. One of the other comparisons I saw made was so-and-so, say you just bought a new $50,000 car. And to Elon Musk, that's like, in comparison to what you make, to comparison to what he makes, that's like 0.01 cent to him.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So it kind of puts things in perspective. So you mentioned a funny video, and there's a fella on YouTube called Mr. Reagan, and he was the one responsible for putting out that Kamala Harris video before the election, where she's basically at the microphone just pontificating about a complete dumbass she is. And it was real. I mean, it seemed so real. Well, he has put out a new one that I thought that maybe we could take a look at today. What do you think?
Interesting.
This is a Donald Trump press conference. All right. They'll hang on to something because this is hilarious.
Mr. Reagan.
During the election campaign, Democrats accused me of planning to implement an extreme far-right agenda known as Project 2025. Well, they were right. Effective immediately, we will be executing the true Trump agenda, the infamous Project 2025, with an executive order. First, we will be banning all socks with sandals. It's ugly. Okay?
It is
Needs
ugly.
to stop. Secondly, we will replace each and every statue the Antifa and BLM vandals toppled during their riots. We will replace them each with a statue of me, Donald Trump. Maybe gold, maybe marble,
There's his
maybe
ego.
copper like Lady Liberty.
Yeah, there we go.
Copper looks good. I like the patina. Antifa, trust me, you're going to love it. From now on,
Trust me, you're gonna
U.S.
love it.
immigration policy
the
will
patina.
only permit immigration for Eastern European women. And only the single hot ones. Just the hot ones. We're going to
There he
make
is.
America sexy again.
That's why we got our daughters from
Following
him.
the success of our Gulf of America name change, starting today, we are officially renaming the GMC Denali the GMC McKinley. It's the greatest name change in history, believe me. I will fix the homeless problem once and for all. We are developing a new game show called Actual Survivor. Homeless people are taken to an island where they will participate in a series of fun challenges culminating in a children's game called The Squid Game this fall on NBC. It's going to be great. I hereby demand that Jeff Bezos stop making his rocket ships look like giant penises. And now, it's disgusting, Jeff. Now
It
on,
is.
Canadian bacon will now officially be known as bitch bacon because I just made Canada my bitch. Fully Canadian geese, now bitch geese. Everyone is fighting about transgender athletes in women's sports. So we're going to establish a new Olympics, the Gay Olympics, where gay men and lesbian women compete against each other. And transgender athletes are Still not included. Finally, ICE will now round up and deport all Americans who still wear COVID masks alone in their cars. Enjoy Venezuela, losers. So that should give you an idea of the brilliant things we're doing here. There will be many more amazing Project 2025 things to come. Let's make America great again. Thank you very much, everybody.
That's funny. I don't care who you are, whether you support him or you don't support him.
I'm actually crying. Oh my God. That is just so funny.
He is funny.
He's killing me. Well, Mr. Reagan, of course, put that together, but
Yeah.
I would love to hear Donald's actual reaction to that. Hey, just in a the way of closing things up today, I just heard that Greg Gutfeld, you know who that is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, Greg Gutfeld's been on Fox News for years and years. He's a funny guy, and he's got his own show, and he quickly became the most popular late night show ever. I mean, he beats Jimmy Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon. He beats them all. And it's a very funny show. I watch it Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock on Fox News. Well, he announced that he just finished a new game show that they're going to be showing on Fox Nation called What Did I Miss? And I heard the premise of this thing, and it sounds hilarious. There are 3 contestants. They're standing at podiums, and he's the host. He's hosting it. He's quite funny. He's a funny guy. And what he's done is he took these contestants had to spend, before they did this, they had to spend 90 days in complete isolation with no internet, no television. They put them up in nice places, rural places, not in the cities anywhere, in nice.
How do I volunteer for this
places.
show?
And then
I want a 90-day vacation.
And then they have a couple of like Fox News personalities that say, okay, this is something you missed, and they'll tell the story, and then the other one will tell a story, and they'll say one of these is true, and they have to
evaluate which one they believe.
They have to vote for which one they thought was true. But anyway, I saw a clip from it. It was funny as hell. And I can't wait to go on. And of course, Fox Nation is not free, but it's not expensive. It's not expensive at all. So I can't wait to go.
I'm going to have to subscribe just
check
so I can
that
get
out.
an invite to the show.
I have to go check that out.
Swain County would like it if I was quiet for 90 days. It just got peace and quiet over here.
Well, this has been a great show, and I have enjoyed doing it with you once again. And we'll be back in a week doing it again, I hope.
Thank you so much for having me as part of your show, Stan.
Well, I'm very happy to have you. And with that, we'll say don't forget to like and subscribe. Meaning like means put a thumbs up. And also, if there's a thumbs up, you can put, right in YouTube, do that. And also subscribe to the channel. And it's a way of getting this channel monetized, although that's not going to happen anytime soon, especially not since I started a new channel for it a couple of weeks ago. But that's something we could talk about next time, is how YouTube doesn't really want you to get monetized. And I've got proof of that from another channel that I started, but we'll talk about that later. We'll save that one for next time, as Terror Ted would say. That's a great YouTube channel, by the way, Terror Ted's Tales. You should check that one out. Anyway, so with that, I will say thank you for joining me again. Courtney, say goodnight.
Good night, Courtney.
And with that, we will take it on home. Thanks again, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thank you very much.